Open Workshop is a pay-as-you-go, membership-based makerspace based in Leith in Edinburgh. We provide space and machinery for woodwork, for metalwork. We've got a paint floor, and we have a craft room as well for people who want to work in less messy materials. The reason we started Edinburgh Open Workshop was about 6 years ago. I worked for a company called Big House Events. We built scenery for theatre and live events, and we were evicted from one yard because it was being demolished and turned into an Aldi. And we ended up homeless for about a year trying to find space, and they were either too big or they were too small, and we had no idea how to sort of like manage as a set building company within that framework. And then we had the opportunity to move into the small warehouse next door that was still too big for us, so we decided to Airbnb the workshop and open it up to a host of resident makers. And then the opportunity came to move into this warehouse where it was way too big for us, so we decided to Airbnb the workshop further and open it up to pay-as-you-go members, people who don't necessarily need 24/7 access. They work on a project-by-project basis, and that's where we are now. So 3 years later in this warehouse, we've got 6 pay-as-you-go bays, we've got 7 residents on the main workshop floor, we've got various studios throughout the building. Currently we've got a blacksmith, wood turners, cabinet makers, set builders, and that's just our residents. We've got 300 pay-as-you-go members now. Sort of our main member base tends to be hobbyists and enthusiasts. Since after lockdown, actually, we had quite a lot of people who took up woodworking in lockdown, and so they use us to kind of level up their Etsy game now. So whereas before they were making like chopping boards, and it would take them 2 or 3 days to do that in their shed, now they're coming in and they're making oak dining room tables, and they're making all sorts of furniture using our machinery. The need for the CNC machine came at a time when our anchor tenant in here is a company called Big House Events, and they build scenery for theatre and live events. And at the time that one of our residents sent us the message saying, "What about this unit?" we were doing a job for Scottish Power. It was the equivalent of 8 sheets of material that had to be cut into various shapes for a photo opportunity they had. And it worked out for us that we were being charged £80 a sheet to get that CNC, and it was some very basic stuff. We had one resident who then sent us the CNC machine advert, and we quickly did the math and worked out that it would take about 10 jobs for the CNC machine to pay for itself. Most people come in to use the SmartBenches just to learn how to use it as a CNC machine. We have 2 levels of training. You can come in for a hardware induction, or you can come in for the full day's training. From a product point of view, we've got various resident members who use it to speed up their project, or if they're busy on site, they'll send me the file and I can run it for them for a small fee. But more often than not, it's people who book out the bench per hour, and the great thing about VCarve is it gives you a pretty good estimation of how long that job's going to take, so they can quote their client before they even hit go on their product. In terms of our main tenant here, the set building company, there's rarely a job that they don't use the CNC machine on. The main reason for choosing SmartBench was it's an affordable workhorse. Under £8,000 all in, I think, with VCarve and with the dust extraction, is a fantastic price point in comparison to some of this, more industrious models that you're paying 20 grand for. As a makerspace that has spent the last 3 years trying to set up shop in this warehouse, we've been in various other warehouses. So being able to transport this about, the concept of having to forklift a more expensive model out of the warehouse was a fear factor for us. So we decided the portability aspect of this was a total godsend. You open up the crates that you guys send in, and I think within half an hour we did our first cut. And then the next day, I think, it was a bit more ambitious with the next project I did, and then we just scaled up from there. And I think within the first week we'd taken on a small commission for one of our residents, and albeit quite scary to push that play button on someone else's sheet of birch ply, it worked. There's a great talk group on Facebook for the kind of quick question you need to send, and more often than not, it's not a problem with the tool, it's a problem with your file that you've created. Yeah, from an online support direct to your company, it's been fantastic, but from an ad hoc sort of like talking to other users who are all entry-level users for the most part, that's been good to know that there's that community there too. The type of makerspace that you get either tends to be a little bit more traditional like this, or tends to have like 14 3D printers, 6 Glowforge laser cutters, 14 Laguna laser cutters, and a couple of CNC machines, and that's really where they invest all their tech in, or their cash in. But what we decided to do was stock up on the more traditional machinery and tip our toes into the water of CAD/CAM, and so the Yeti afforded us the ability to do that, and we then had the opportunity to buy a really nice laser cutter, which, because we have this background and confidence in CNCing, has been a breeze to learn.